you've realized that it's helping other people will get you where you want to get, right?
Oh,
Versus, I
100%.
mean, a lot of young guys, and especially we'll get into social media here in a second, but they see it online, right? They see like the guy with the nice car and the pretty girls, and they're like, "Is that what I got to do?" So if that's what I got to do, how do I get the money? And they think of the money first, right? And then the money doesn't come because they're thinking of the money first, but you are thinking about the people first. The person you can help with pancreatic cancer, the person you can help lose, 80 pounds, the person across the country that you can help start figure out their fitness journey today. But you figured out that now as opposed to 10 years down the road where usually people figure it out. So that's really cool, man.
It's honestly all about helping people, man. The more value I can provide to someone, I know that later on in life, I will get my money. I will get what I need out of life. And,
Yeah.
it's all about providing value to people nowadays.
Welcome to the Land Life Podcast with your host, PJ Riley.
What's going on, guys? Welcome to the Land Life Podcast. My name is PJ Riley. Guys, like I always say, if you're getting value, make sure you like, subscribe, leave 5 stars. And if you can think of something witty to say, leave a comment. iTunes and Spotify love it when you leave comments. So please just leave me a comment, just a quick comment, 1 line, 2 lines, nothing crazy. Your guest today, Oliver, was really great. Something like that. Doesn't have to be crazy. You don't have to write me a full paragraph unless you want to, of course. Guys, at the end of the podcast, Oliver's going to leave a way where you can get hold of him. So if throughout the course of this podcast, you're like, dude, I love this story. He had a really cool, interesting story. I want to connect with him. I want to keep this conversation going. He's going to leave a way you can contact him at the end of the podcast. So make sure you stick around to the end of it. So today's guest, crazy enough, another RTA member. It seems like every guest lately has been an RTA member. Oliver Goulet, you're out of Michigan, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
All right. What part of Michigan?
West Michigan, kind of like the
Okay.
Grand Rapids area towards the lake.
Right on. Grand Rapids. He's the CEO of Fresh Hope Genetics and Fresh Hope, I would say, Health and Nutrition. Have we really called it, or is it all just called Fresh Hope?
Basically, I'll just call it Fresh Hope.
Okay. So he runs a cannabis company and personal trainer, health coach. So he's helping a lot of people in a lot of different ways. So how's it going, man?
Oh man, it's going pretty good. Trying to get over this cold weather here in Michigan, ready for springtime, need some sunlight in my life. But other
Yeah,
than that, man, cannot complain.
that's awesome. That's awesome. So kind of give us a quick background on who you are. So everybody knows kind of who this 25-year-old kid is talking to us about business.
Well, my name's Oliver Goulet. I was born and raised in Holland, Michigan. I still currently live in Holland, Michigan. I'm on year 5 of my entrepreneurship journey. I started a cannabis company when I was 19 years old, and I dropped out of college to actually start it, and now just kind of run the course with this entrepreneurship thing. I ended up, you know, pursuing the cannabis industry because I saw how profitable it was and where the industry was going. And growing up, I was kind of a pothead since I was 15 years old, and just kind of found my cup of tea with being in the cannabis industry, and just I really enjoyed it for the majority of it. And and right now I'm working on a recreational processing facility with 3 partners that I'm super excited about. That way, we'll be able to provide our products to more and more people throughout Michigan, and then hopefully venture off into the other states that are upcoming in the cannabis industry.
Okay, so no college was not like, I guess, in the cards for you. What about college did you not like?
Well, honestly, going into college, I was an athlete. I was an overweight athlete, so I wasn't that great. So I went D3. That was basically the only offer I got was from the local private liberal arts school, Hope College. And I went there, and I really didn't know what I wanted to do. I went in for engineering because I was a huge fan of like dirt bikes, quads and all motor stuff. And I was like, oh, that seems pretty interesting. Like maybe I'll go the route of engineering because one of my buddies was also doing it. And I was like, yeah, I'll go that route. Go in there, do not like the type of math that should involve. So I was like, yep, not my cup of tea. I loved money math, so I switched to accounting, and then I realized I don't want to sit behind a desk and crunch numbers all day. The only type of money I want to deal with is business. So I switched to business and entrepreneurship, and then actually towards the end of my freshman year, I got in a altercation with my roommate who ended up assaulting me over some stupid incident. And then I hit him back. And then turns out he went to the police, said I assaulted him. Ended up getting woken up at 4 a.m. by the police saying I was under arrest for assault and battery. Ended up having to go to court, all this other bull crap I had to deal with. Basically made my life a living hell the last like 3 months, my freshman year in college. And yeah, I ended up having to go to court over the whole situation, and I beat the case. But I had to come up with money to pay for my lawyer fees because I come from a middle class family. My parents like, this is your responsibility. You got to pay for this. You got to figure it out. And at the time, I worked at a factory and I was making like $10 an hour, and I was only working like 20 hours a week because I was going to school full time plus playing lacrosse. And yeah, I had to figure out a different route to make money, and that is where the cannabis came into play. I ended up borrowing some money from my sister at the time and buying weed with it. And since I went to a private liberal arts school and all their parents had money, all the kids like, walking around with money. And I was like, how do I get money from these kids to pay my bill, like my lawyer fees? So I started selling weed, and then I realized like, maybe this has got something to it. And I really thought about it, and I saw all the upcoming things with the cannabis industry, and I was like, this could be, a route I want to go with. And then, yeah, I ended up getting my medical license and growing cannabis. I was like, screw buying weed. I can just grow it and make more money doing that. And then kind of just started from there, and, took off with that, scaled up to a few different grow facilities, and kind of never looked back.
Yeah. Okay. So there's a quick transition there. I mean, you got this entrepreneurial spirit, you see a business plan, you see it kind of working. Now, from the time there's a point where it becomes in your story where it was kind of just making a couple bucks to moving into the business side of things. So when you were growing a few, I'm guessing in the house, I would imagine, right? So growing a few in the house, a few plants in the house. Now you're like, no. Now I'm going to buy a few. I'm going to get a warehouse, basically, right? We're going to make this commercial, correct? So how did you transition, though? I think that's what everybody would want to know. Where are you transitioning from? I'm just growing a few plants in the house to now I have a building. How did you get the building? How did you get the lease for a building? How did you get how'd you get Michigan to allow you to do this?
So basically you can apply for a licensing through the medical system, and it really wasn't that hard at the time to get it because the laws were very like lenient, because it was like, it had been medical for a few years, but it was also still up and coming. They're just giving out licenses. And I actually got the license under my mother at the time because I was underage. I was still like, I think I just turned 20 years old. So I got the licensing under my mother, and my parents, we grew up in the country. So we got zoned properly, and I built a greenhouse, and my mother helped me with this. And because she had a friend that had pancreatic cancer who didn't do any pharmaceutical pills or anything. So like there was an actual purpose behind her helping to supply her friend with cannabis to help with her cancer. And she ended up beating pancreatic cancer, which is like unheard of from this. And like that was like really when I was like, all right, so cannabis does have medical benefits to it. Like this actually is way better than, the pills that freaking kill people nowadays. And like that gave us a sense of purpose. And then after that, I just kept, scaling and growing to where I'm at today from that.
Yeah. Go mom, man.
Yeah.
Okay. So now you've got a few warehouses, or am I saying it correctly? Warehouses? Do you have warehouses or these metal buildings that you're growing in?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So cool. So now you have some of those. How are you making the relationships with dispensaries to actually sell the product, right? Because now you have all this stuff. You got a warehouse, you got great stuff. Mom's helping you out, which is great to hear. And then how are you developing the relationships first to move it into a retail store?
So when I was like first starting to like, sell weed and stuff, like I was going to dispensaries because they were like very lenient with the laws and stuff. And I just got my medical card. So I'd like go to dispensaries, buy weed, resell it. And like I built relationships with all these different dispensary owners that knew me. And then as soon as I started growing, all I had to do was, go talk to them, show them the product, and boom, there it was.
Okay. So that's how easy it is. You just walk in and say, I have it too. I got weed.
That's how easy it used to be. That's how easy it used to be. Now there's way more like regulations and stuff like that. You can't do any of that shit anymore. That was just, back in the day when it was like, like the wild, wild west. And any new upcoming states in the cannabis industry, they're roughly, 5, 6 years behind us, and we're 5 to 6 years behind Colorado and California, like you guys. So
Yeah.
like it's just repeating itself. That's why like the newer and upcoming states, like that's why a lot of companies are going there, because it is like the wild, wild west. You don't necessarily have to even pass like testing from the state. So they test your products, which now everything like in Michigan, Colorado, California, everything's regulated, like
Yeah.
everything's tested. But there's still a lot of loopholes, which creates a lot of like not transparency, because there's a lot of bad products out there in the markets and stuff like that. And that's like part of the purpose with our company is like we're going to be transparent. We're going to provide test results for everything. We're not going to try cheating the system like a lot of companies are that do shady shit out there. Like even though it is like they say it's like the tested market, like you'll be getting products that they scan with x-ray scanners to kill like live stuff in it. So like it could be like, bugs or something like that. It might not have passed testing the first time. Then they run it through an x-ray scanner and it kills all the microbial life on it. And then it'll pass testing. So will be smoking products that are absolutely trash and have, dead insects or microbials in it nowadays, just because they're just like, okay, they don't want to lose, $50 million worth of product. So they run it through an x-ray scanner and then they're able to put that on the shelf.
No kidding.
So it's
Okay,
pretty
so how are you then
well.
getting it tested? So it does have to go through some sort of medical professionals, or how does it get tested?
So it gets tested through different licensed testing facilities throughout the state. All you basically do is, you sign up, you have a contract with them, you send out samples. Well, now you don't even get to send out samples because there's always that like there's a chance of cheating the system that way. So they'll actually come to your facility and they'll pull buds off the plants or your end product, and they'll test it right there. So you can't be like, oh, here's a sample that you already know that is already going to pass testing. They'll come take a sample randomly so that they know like you can't cheat the system. But there's still companies that are able to cheat the system some way or somehow.
Okay, so what about like potency? Like how are you testing for potency? Your product versus somebody else's product. How are you determining whose is the superior product? Is there a testing process involved, or is there a certain method you have to go through?
It's all the same testing. They'll when they come test it, they do like the THC, the cannabinoids, whether it pass the pesticide test or the microbial test. Like it's a huge panel of tests that they do. It's not just like, oh, you got sent to this place for THC or this place for pesticides. It's all in one panel testing that tests for everything.
Okay. How big are you guys right now?
Right now, we and my three partners, uh, three part-time, because we're able to do it all ourselves basically right now. And then
Okay.
for my medical one, I have 4 employees and then a bunch of part-time help because everything's automated. I can basically control all my systems and stuff from my phone. It's pretty
Oh,
wild.
nice. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
automation is key.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. So yeah, expand on that a little bit. Automation. What are you guys using? CRMs? Are you using virtual assistants to help with like different data? There's 3 main people on the team, but do you have any other people that are helping out?
Basically, no, that's it. And basically, I mean, I have an app on my phone and through a system called Trollmaster, and it controls like everything from our climate with humidity, temperature, our lights, our
Kidding.
irrigation systems, all everything. I could, if I get alerts if temperatures rise, humidity rise, anything like that, it just alerts me. Then I can either have one of my guys go check it out, or I check it out, make sure everything's kosher. And yeah, it's super easy, convenient. All my feed times are scheduled, absolutely everything straight from my phone.
That is crazy.
Yeah. Oh, it's
So
come a
now,
long,
right now,
long
anybody
ways.
listening to this is going to think that's easy. I could do it too. So they're
Yeah,
going to
have
want to
fun.
jump on and get the app and put weed in their mom's backyard. But it's not that easy, is it?
Oh no. Growing, I mean, weed is a weed. It'll grow no matter what, but it all comes down to quality. If you want to, separate yourself from the market, it all comes down to quality control.
Yeah. Okay. Let's talk about legal issues now, because you're a young guy. I can see a lot of other young guys that maybe aren't as focused and kind of level-headed as you, maybe kind of avoiding things, like avoiding the legal side of this thing. In order to be compliant, what are you guys having to do? I mean, are you registering with the state and continuing to get ongoing like inspections, What does that look like in this industry too?
So you have to apply for licensing through the state. You have to be pre-approved. Your location has to be green zone, which the green zone mean it is approved for cannabis related things such as dispensaries, processing facilities, grow facilities, and all that good stuff. Then every year, like at any given time, they can send someone from LARA or the metric system, which is the one that regulate. LARA is the license regulation agency in Michigan that comes through, and they'll check all your stuff, make sure you're up to code on everything. They can come in at any given time, same with metric, to come test your stuff, see how you guys are operating. And like during this process of our new facility, like they have to come in and inspect every single step of the way along the journey so that they know that we're doing everything right, and also so that they get paid, they make their money, they get all their stuff. So yeah, it's a lot harder than just throwing some plants in the backyard, even though it is recreational. Anyone can grow their own 12 plants, which I'm all about. If you can grow your own 12 plants and provide your own cannabis or personal smoke or medical, they go for it, do it, have fun with it. It's enjoyable, it's soothing to grow plants, it's super cool to do. So I tell people all the time, if you got the spot to grow for yourself, try it. It's fun, it's interesting, and it'll show you just how hard it is. And then you'll be coming right back to us in a couple months. So
they'll be looking to you for the quality.
Yeah. 100%.
That's really interesting. Here in Colorado, we have, I noticed even early on, big money people were involved, like right away. Huge properties were used to grow. Huge facilities were developed really early on. So I noticed a lot of young guys move to the state thinking they're going to get rich because they like weed. And it did not work for them at all. Right. Like they would they just thought, well, I like to smoke weed. I'm going to jump in and compete with all these guys. And they just couldn't do it. It's just not, they didn't have the work ethic needed to keep up with, guys dropping $50 million day one to start building these operations. So it's really interesting to see that you were able to just grind it out early on, figure out all these different strategies, right? Have mom help out, and work your way to where you're at right now. That's really cool that you were able to do that.
Yeah, no, it's been awesome, man. I wouldn't trade the journey for anything. I mean, kind of having that underdog story, like, yeah, it's hard to compete with, the big dogs and stuff like that, but also they got the downfall behind it because those people just come in with money and they try buying people like me to come run their facilities and stuff like that. The amount of people that have, offered to pay me to come run their facilities. And it's like, why would I go work for you, dude? I'm doing this shit myself. Like, I'm gonna go get it. Like, I don't care if I fail, but I'd rather do that than make you stupid amounts of money because I know how much money I can make you.
Yeah, yeah. And what's interesting is I was talking to another person on a different podcast about this. People are if you go look on social media, people are really big on multiple streams of income, right? It's just like a huge deal. Like to say, well, I have multiple streams of income and now I'm a trillionaire. This is my Lamborghini, right? It's all nonsense. So the reason people like in our group, Ed and Andy, are very successful is because they built one thing first, right? They kind of had a passion project that they built and made it the best. They worked on it day in and day out. They missed a lot of, fun activities with friends, things like that. And they put their heart and soul into it. And that's kind of what you're doing here. You build that first thing, right? You build that first thing and you avoid, hey, can you come to work for me? I'm the big marijuana distributor. Come on, work for me. You're like, no. I got this thing, right? And I'm going to build it and make it the best possible thing it can be. And then you can expand upon that. Once that's big enough, then you can start buying, apartment buildings and crypto and all these other distractions, right? You can start jumping into all those things as well. But it's really important to build that first thing prior to expanding in the rest of the world.
Oh yeah, 100%. Don't get me wrong. I have tried dabbling with, the cryptos and stuff. And then I realized like there's not enough time in my day to actually put the time, effort, and energy into that for me to even make money. So I'll just leave that over here and I'll keep doing what I'm doing. Lessons learned all the time. Like you always have those little things that come. It's like, yeah, I could do that, but then it's going to take time away from this. And this really makes me money right now. So why would I waste my time on that?
Yeah, yeah. So kind of another passion project you have though, and it's part of the Fresh Hope company, is health coaching, right? So maybe kind of talk a little bit about that. What led you to go help out other people in the fitness industry, as you know, in addition to the current industry you're in now?
So basically, growing up my whole life, I was the overweight fat kid that got bullied. And yeah, after my freshman year, during all those times, like, or and in my freshman year when I was going through all that hard stuff, my go-to when I was depressed and sad my whole life is, binge eating. And that's something I've struggled with my whole life. And after, going through all that stuff with my roommate and the lawyers and, beating the case, like I ended up weighing like 270 pounds in end of my freshman year. And yeah, it was not a healthy lifestyle that I wanted to continue to run. And yeah, and so then when I was doing the cannabis stuff, I was making good enough money. I still wasn't really focusing on my health at all. And then it kind of dove me down an even darker path. Yes, I was doing good in business and all this other stuff, but then I really started to party. I really started to party really hard and not take care of my physical health, which led into addictions with drugs and stuff like that. And then it came to a point where I was just like, laying in bed one night and I kind of had this like epiphany thing, like it was like a vision where I saw like a funeral and all my family and friends were there and I didn't see myself there, but I just like saw my mom crying, and then all of a sudden I heard someone saying he was too young to die, and like that's when it kind of clicked with me, like that's my funeral I'm looking at right now if I keep running this course of being extremely overweight and doing these drugs and stuff like this. And yeah, it just kind of made me snap into reality and was like, dude, I got to make a change. Like if I can't keep making like stupid amounts of money and growing as a person in my company if I'm not taking care of myself. So I started, work out and, take care of my physical health. It led down, a good path for a few months, lost like 30, 40 pounds, I think. And then had a bad dirt bike crash, tore my labrum, then fell right back into my old habits of eating. And then the drug habits got even worse. Addiction got real, real bad. And then yeah, it took about a year of sobriety and stuff for me to finally come to realizing like I probably should get back into the fitness stuff. And then yeah, I was actually out at a bar one night with some friends, and this I talked to this girl, got her Instagram. Then over the next month, I saw her posting on her story this dude, this podcast, and it happened to be Andy's podcast. And I ended up like asking like, what is this? Like you're always posting it, and share the show is saying. So I listened to it, and like the first time I listened to it, it sparked a fire inside of me. And I was like, I don't know who this dude is, but man, he's spitting some knowledge at me, and it makes me want to fucking do things with my life. So kicked it into gear, and my company and my my entrepreneurship journey, that's when it truly started, was after finding Andy's podcast. That really like helped change my life. And it was about 6 months before my birthday, and I like heard him like shamelessly plug 75 hard, and I was like, that seems like something that probably helped me out a lot in my life. So I decided that on my birthday, July 23, that I was going to actually do 75 hard in 2019. And so in 2019, July 23, I started 75 hard, and that program changed my entire life. I ended up losing the next 40 pounds, getting down to a good solid weight. My business was booming, and never looked back. My discipline just took off. That program truly made me who I am today, because otherwise I would probably be dead and or have severe drug addiction still and be severely overweight.
Wow, wow, that's a
So it was kind of
that's pretty intense, man. And are we talking the MFCEO podcast?
yeah.
Okay. So yeah, if you listen to Andy, and if you're not familiar with Andy Frizella's podcast, he's got a new podcast now, but the old one is MFCEO. Both of them are like a punch in the face. I mean, it's like it'll wake you up. And especially the older one as far as business goes. The newer one's more current events, but it'll definitely punch in the mouth and wake you up if that's what you need. And it sounds like you need it. So man, that's a crazy review of his of 75 hard too.
Yeah, no, it was phenomenal. And like and then that went into basically like me realizing like, if I was able to lose like 80 pounds, or going back. So after I finished 75 hard, I heard him shamelessly plug First Form, and I was like, what the hell is this? Like through this whole time I've listened to him like 7 months, never heard like what he does. All I know is that, he's got a great voice, knows a lot about business. Like, what
Yeah.
business is he actually a part of? And, or what does he own? And so then I had to find out about First Form, joined the Legionnaire program. And I was a part of that for about a year and a half, just to help me with my physical like health and my nutrition and stuff like
Yeah.
that. And then I finally got to the point where it's like, man, you did all this stuff for yourself. Now you're knowledgeable. Now it's time to, pass it along to others and share your story and help them along their journey. And then over the past 6 months, when it was a little bit of the downtime with the cannabis company, I kind of just took off with the coaching. Now I'm coaching over 35 clients and with their nutrition and lifestyle. And it's nothing more rewarding than help people change their life through fitness and nutrition and mindset, man.
That's awesome. And just to confirm, this is all part of the same company. This is all Fresh Hope. Uh, it's one company. It just has different arms of it. So I just want to be clear on that, correct?
Yep, that is correct.
Right on. And guys, if you look up Oliver's shorts on YouTube, this dude is jacked. Like, dude, you're like you look like an Olympic gymnast. You ever seen those dudes that's what you look like. You're jacked, dude. So it's working.
Well, I appreciate that, man. I do a lot. And yeah, before it's tough to say, man. I couldn't even look myself in the mirror before, dude, without being disgusted. So it's good to feel this way and look this way because, I've been putting in that work the last like 3.5 years of my life.
Yeah, it absolutely shows. So what does it look like when a new guy comes to you? They're the old Oliver. They're like, hey, dude, I'm 80 pounds overweight. How can you help me?
So basically, I get them set up, through a First Form app. I go through a personalized results plan. Basically talk them through what their goals is. I look at what their eating habits are. I look at what their day to day is, their job. What they can do. Starting today, literally to help move them in the right direction. I try not to throw too many things at them at once because I've tried that before when I first started. It was like,
Yeah.
do this, this, and this, and this, and you'll end up like me down the road. And it's a very overwhelming for people. So now I set up, a base plan, what they can start today. And then over time, we slowly start implementing more and more things and, compounding and just building discipline within them because, if they don't start building discipline within them, they're just going to fall right back in old habits. Say, help them lose 50 pounds, but I don't help them build the discipline within them. So when times get tough, like they don't fall back in the old habits. Like Andy talks about, like he like lost all that weight before and then he put it back on because he was undisciplined going back and forth. And my like coaching strategy is like helping you build the discipline to be able to continue to push through those tough times and not fall back into those old bad habits and looking at those like, yeah, that's why I'm here in the first place, or that's what led me here. So let's avoid doing that and build healthier habits and trading them. Because like one thing, like a lot of people like that are like me, they struggle with like addiction and stuff. So basically what helped me is just swapping out the addictive bad things for good things that actually serve me and help me move my life forward.
Yeah, that's awesome. So give us like an example then, like maybe a couple things that people could start immediately day one that won't overwhelm them that they could do like today.
Drinking 100 ounces or more water every day and going for a 30-minute walk.
Easy, just like that. And that's it. So
just like that.
Applicable advice right there. If you aren't working out and if it's something you really want to do, 100 ounces of water between now and the end of the day and walk for 30 minutes and you're there and you're on your way, right?
Super simple, very simple. If you do that every single day and then over time, give that a couple weeks and then start adding something, maybe start jogging, maybe go to a gym, maybe start taking a look at eating like more protein. That's something also they could do today. Start eating more protein. Protein's the most satiating macronutrient and also, allows you to maintain that lean muscle tissue, and lean muscle tissue affects your metabolism. And the better your metabolism functions, the more calories you'll burn throughout the day, the more weight you'll lose.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Where are you training right now? So you're training clients thing for actual exercise outside of the fitness, outside of the diet part, right?
No, not in person. I will program, workouts and stuff for them to do, but I'm not able to help as many people because I am currently training for CrossFit. And,
Okay.
For the people that I'm trying to train, they're not willing to, jump right into do CrossFit. Like they got a long way to go before they'd want to even think about doing something like that. So everything's online. I do all my programming stuff through, online and the nutrition side of things.
Yeah. So that's pretty cool though, because then you're able to work like internationally. You can work anywhere in the world, right? You can help anybody.
Yeah, I have people all around the country I'm working with, so it's pretty awesome.
So do they contact you through that that app? So they're looking for a trainer or for a coach. Are they looking for you, or are you going out and finding them?
Um, a little bit of both. I mean, I do most of it comes through social media. People
Mhm.
see what I do and what I post and stuff, and like, I'm here to help people like along their journeys. And most people end up just reaching out to me or referrals from friends that have already helped, friends and family, and just other people I've coached that are, hey man, this dude was awesome to work with. He helped me lose, 30, 40 pounds, helped me change my life. I think he'd be beneficial to you, and just like that.
That's awesome, man. Dude, you're only 25, but you're well beyond your young age. Like you've got a really good head on your shoulders. You're a smart guy. You've realized that it's helping other people will get you where you want to get, right?
Oh,
Versus, I
100%.
mean, a lot of young guys, and especially we'll get into social media here in a second, but they see it online, right? They see like the guy with the nice car and the pretty girls, and they're like, "Is that what I got to do?" So if that's what I got to do, how do I get the money? And they think of the money first, right? And then the money doesn't come because they're thinking of the money first, but you are thinking about the people first. The person you could help with pancreatic cancer, the person you could help lose, 80 pounds, the person across the country that you could help start figure out their fitness journey today. But you figured out that now, as opposed to 10 years down the road, where usually people figure it out. So that's really cool, man.
Yeah, it's honestly all about helping people, man. The more value I can provide to someone, I know that later on in life, I will get my money. I will get what I need out of life. And,
Yeah.
it's all about providing value to people nowadays.
Yeah. But I mean, let's talk about social media then, because it's people don't know about you. They're never going to do business with you, right? If they don't know who
Yeah.
you are, they're never going to be able to contact you. You could be the nicest guy in the world. You could have all these great ideas, but if they don't know who you are, they ain't going to get a hold of you. They're not going to contact you. So how are you using social media? What sites are you using, and how are you able to connect with people through social media?
So my main platform is I use Instagram, but I'm also on YouTube Shorts. Facebook is another one I use pretty heavily. TikTok, I'm not so much on TikTok. I'll go on there here and there and I'll post daily, but it's not my main platform because most of the stuff you see on TikTok is just honestly stupid. But yeah, I'm on that. And then also I am on LinkedIn, and LinkedIn is more like the business side of things, like more professional area, and like
Mhm.
I see that as something I'll be pretty big on later on down the road. But I just started that about a month ago.
Okay. So now you're posting short video content. And what is it? What is it that you're posting that's attracting all these people? Are you posting workout videos of yourself? Are these motivational videos? Like, what are you posting personally? And I only say that because I know a lot of people are like, they want to be able to do what you're doing, right? So this is more of a piece of advice for them.
So the whole point of social media is to entertain, impact, educate, and inspire.
Okay.
Those, if you run by those four things and you cycle through with, your content posting, and you go through those things throughout the week, that's how you build your brand. That's how you draw people to your page. Because not only like you don't want to just be known as someone that just straight inspiring people or just straight educational. People go on social media because they want entertainment. So if you can provide all four of those things, that is how you're going to grow your audience. That is how you're going to draw people to your brand, to your page, to your business. That's what it's all about.
Yeah. So give us that for one more time.
It's educate, impact, inspire, entertain.
Okay, I love it. That's good stuff, man. So you're on all these different sites, Instagram primarily, though. We're doing videos. Are you doing like memes, or not memes? I guess like quotes. Are you doing those as well? Kind of mixing it in, or is it all video?
It's a little bit of everything. There's quotes, there's regular posts. I try to mix it up. Try changing up because people don't want to see the same shit all the time.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, man. Oliver, what's the future look like? What's the goal?
The goal is I want to make an impact on millions of people throughout the course of my life, and ultimately help people change the overall quality of their life.
That's awesome. And you're doing it one person at a time, which is so smart. You're
Yeah.
not throwing this huge net out. I do everything. You're working with people one on one and building these relationships. I think those types of relationships too, are what will build your bigger brand in general, right? It's not a, hey everybody, here's what I do, and then just throwing it out there. It's, hey, Mr. Johnson, I can help you, lose weight. Here's what we're going to do. Here's our plan. We're going to work together. And you work with this person one-on-one daily, right? And then that person tells his friends, his coworker, his son, right? And then you build it like that. I mean, it's I'm not even sure what word I'm looking for, but it's an organic way of building a business.
Yeah, it's organic growth.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's lost on a lot of people. It really is. Unfortunately, it's lost on a lot of people because they don't see that. They don't see working with one person. Dude, it only makes me $50, right? This one person, all I got was $50 out of this. If I throw my message out to 1,000 people, I'd make a lot more money, right? Well, you're never going to get those 1,000 people though. You throw it out to 1,000 people and nobody comes back. But if you work with Mr. Johnson here, you get your $50, and then he tells his friends and his family, and it starts to build and multiply from there. But you figured it out, man. That's pretty awesome.
I wouldn't say I necessarily figured it out quite yet, but I'm working at it. I got a
You're
little
working
bit
on it. Hey, you're light years ahead of most people, though. I will tell you that. You're light years ahead of most people. Yeah. All right, Albert, how can people get hold of you?
Through social media. My main platform is Instagram. It's just Oliver_Goulet 23. Basically that's all of the handles for all my social media platforms. Or you could email me at oliesgoulet23@gmail.com with any questions, advice, or anything like that you'd like to know about fitness, nutrition, cannabis, entrepreneurship, or anything like that.
That's awesome. That's awesome, Oliver. I can't wait to see you on in the future with ROT too. I think you're gonna grow and be one of the big dudes we all talk about. So I'm excited to see that. All right, Oliver. Here's the big question. All right, here's the big question I ask at the end of every podcast. We're LandLife. I'm actually wearing a LandLife shirt today. I pulled it out. I was like, I don't ever wear this anymore, so I decided to wear it today. We're LandLife. We buy and sell dirt all across the country, right? If you could buy land anywhere in the entire world, where would it be and why?
I would have to say Jamaica, somewhere in Montego Bay, because I went there for my senior spring break and it was just the most beautiful and peaceful place I've ever been in my life. So that would be it.
That's awesome. Jamaica it is. Are you allowed to buy land in Jamaica? I don't even know. It's like, how does that work?
I don't know. I have no idea.
We're gonna
I
figure
didn't
it out.
really look into that, but if I can, I will.
Jamaica it is. Right on, man. All right, Oliver. Dude, I appreciate it. Thanks for coming on and thanks for spending time with us. And yeah, look forward to seeing you on more podcasts too.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate it, PJ. I hope you have a great rest of your day, man.
Awesome. All right, guys. Till next time, I'll see you on LandLife.